Hi, I think Albert Lang's solution is optimal, and I'll try to convince you of that. Okay, so here's his solution that goes up to 15, and let's think about how many attackers a square can have. So the max to have the maximum of attackers, each square a knight's jump away from that square should have a knight on it. So if we look at those 8 squares, all of them have knights except for this square, which has a rook on it. And then also for this square, you can it can have an attacker if you look at each of the cardinal directions and diagonally. And if you follow that path, uh, in this case, you'll see there is an attacker in each direction. So all 8 directions. Um, and then, so that's 8 attackers plus the 7 knights. Is 15 attackers. So that's one off the maximum number of attackers. So let's consider a solution with that goes up to 16, and let's pick this square to be the square that has 16 attackers. That forces knights in all of these positions, and then also let's mark the squares that cannot have a knight with it. I'll mark them with a black pawn, because this square has to be empty, so it's not a knight. And then um, if there were a knight on any of these black pawns, that would mean there's not an attacker in that direction. So all of these black pawns cannot be knights. For example, if that were a knight, then in the up direction from the empty square, there'd be a knight instead of an attacker to that central square. So that's not possible because we need the maximum number of attackers, 16. Um, okay, so we got so these are the restrictions for 16 attackers for this square, but we also need a square with 15 attackers to it. And let's see where that could go. Um, Basically, we have to shift this template over somewhere else such that there's only one mistake to it. Um, so that narrows things down quite a bit. Let's consider, like, for example, um, could the 15 square be here? No, you can immediately say no because in the for two knight moves up from this pawn, um, the board, it's off the board. So automatically you can say that there can't be 15 attackers here. And that's true. That's going to be true for all the squares on the perimeter and all the squares one away from the perimeter. Um, so the 15 has to be in one of these central, this one of the central four squares in this four. Yeah. Okay, so let's consider this square. Yeah, this is impossible because two of the knight moves away from the square cannot be knights. Um, same here. Same here. Like this square isn't a knight, and then in the downward direction, um, there's a knight instead of an attacker. So um, there's at most 14 attackers here. Um, Here, same problem. Um, this knight, this square isn't a knight, and then this square is not an attacker. Um, so yeah, and by symmetry, we sort of covered all the squares except for this one. So this must be our 15 square. So I'll fill it in with black knights and then bishops instead of pawns. Um, and this sort of shows that um, we don't want 16 attackers for the square, but only 15. So one of these black knights or black bishops can be modified. So we'll sort of have like up to one mistake in this template. Um, okay, so we got our 15 placed, and now let's think about where our 14 can go. So I think we'll see that there's no spot for a 14. Um, so again, on the perimeter, we're gonna lose too many. Like for the 14, we can only have two missing attackers, and if it's on the perimeter, like for example here, then four of the knight jumps are off the board. So nowhere on the perimeter works. Um, Here doesn't work because again, you have four knight jumps are missing. Here, um, like this, uh, yeah, two of the knight jumps are off the board, and then um, so already we're down to 14 potential attackers. But then like this knight, our attacker in the up direction, and then the attacker um, and then this black bishop can't be a knight. Well, one of these two um, could be modified, but not both of them. So that means this is up. This can only have up to 13 attackers. So this spot doesn't work. And then this position we have yeah we have like one, two of the knight moves can't be knights, and then these two diagonals that's already too few attackers for this square. Um, and then yeah, so none of these by symmetry that sort of covers all the squares, you know. Um, so so you can place the 16, you can have a 16 attack square and a 15 attack square, but then there's no room for a 14 attack square. And then um, yeah, I sort of picked the 16 square to start with to be this position, but so we could slide this template over somewhere else, but uh, then you won't be able to place the 15 because the only place we could place the 15 was, um, you know, three squares diagonally from the 16. And then, um, yeah, so that no longer works. So that's it.